Lesson 4.1 is on writing slope-intercept form equations. Just a reminder, slope-intercept form, it says exactly what you need. It's the nice thing about some of these names. Standard's the only one where its name doesn't really make any sense. What does standard mean? Slope-intercept form, though, that's the one we all know and love. Y equals mx plus b. So to break this down and give you a reason why it's called what it is, M stands for the slope. We should know that by now. Same thing with B. That stands for the y-intercept. We should know that by now. So because we need the slope and the y-intercept, the name of the equation is slope-intercept. So whoever thought this one up knew what they were saying. This is sort of like our baseline that we can do with this type of lesson is write an equation with the given information. All right, it's slope-intercept form. We're filling in this y equals mx plus b. They give us everything we need. We just need to put it in the right spots. Slope, that's what m stands for. Y-intercept, that's what b stands for. So -3 is going to go for m. X doesn't get filled in. 1/2 is going to go for b. That's the solution. This is why I'm calling it like the benchmark thing we have to be able to do is recognize the information and be able to put it in the right spots. So for this one, m is 0 plus b. Well, b is -2, so -2. Could also write that as just y equals -2. It's going to be a horizontal line where the slope is 0. Either one of these is fine. This is what I'd see more often if I was like reading a textbook. This shows me that the slope was 0. You wouldn't normally see this if I was actually presenting a solution, though. So I'd like you to be able to make this decision. Now we're expected to be able to find an equation from a graph, and they tell us the same information as the last two problems, just without literally telling us. So the y-intercept is always going to be on the y-axis. We can also tell what the y-intercept is from the point. It's going to have an x value of 0. So this point right here tells us b is -3. Looking over at the other graph, this one tells us that b equals 2. All right, so we already have half the information we need. Now, a graph gives us the luxury of being able to count for our slope. This one goes up 6 and then right 4. So if I do my change in y over change in x, my m is going to be 6 over 4. But I don't like to write that as a fraction, or as a, what do you call it? Non-simplified fraction. We want to simplify that. So I'm going to give it 3 over 2. 6 over 4 simplifies to 3 over 2. So now I fill in my information. Y equals m is 3 over 2. X plus b, my b is -3. Let's look at this one over here. It goes down 3, 1, 2, 3. And then right 4. So this one's m equals -3 over 4. We could also use that slope equation where we do y minus y over x minus x. That's essentially what the counting is doing, but counting does the math for us. -1 minus 2 would be -3. 4 minus 0 would be 4. So counting does the same math, just kind of abstracts it a little bit. Fill in the equation with our information, and we're good to go. One more time. They're giving us information and we're writing the equation for it, but this time it's just points. Now this is actually very similar to what we just did, but we don't have to, or we aren't able to count necessarily. So we look for the point that has 0 for the x value. This is my b. b is -1. This one's my b. b is -5. Next, and this is how I like to show my work for this, we use the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right? I like to draw arrows between what I'm subtracting. Negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. 0 minus negative 3 is positive 3. And then I would simplify my fraction. That's negative 2, and that's my m. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. Now I'll actually show my work with the slope equation for this one. I just wanted to show what I kind of do for mental math, how I keep track of what I'm doing. So for my y2 minus y1, it's going to be negative 5 minus negative 5. And then 8 minus 0 for my x's. Negative 5 minus negative 5 is 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. 0 divided by 8 is just 0. That's my slope for this problem. Y equals 0x minus 5. And we don't really have to write that 0. All right. So that's finding an equation from 2 points. Now we've got function notation. All right, but don't get too worried about this. It's really the same as what we were just doing. You have to reflect a little bit on, I believe it was chapter 2. Function notation is written as f of x. All right, and this is supposed to be a reminder of what our input was. Now, when we put something in for x, we would fill it in the equation over here. All right, it would be like mx plus b. And then we would actually solve it. And when we're done solving it, this would be the result. All right, so essentially what happens here is this f of 0 equals 10. 0 is the x value, 10 is the result, or the y value. So it's really just x comma y disguised under function notation. All right, then it's the same as last problem. 34 minus 10 is 24. 6 minus 0 is 6, so my slope is 4. And then this 0 comma 10 tells me my b value is 10. Remember, I know that because x is 0. X is 0 tells me I'm looking at my y-intercept. All right, fill in the info. Slope of 4, y-intercept of 10. Y equals 4x plus 10. Again, most basic thing we have to be able to do, once we have our info, we have to be able to plug it in.